Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kukwa Force, and if you've been here before, you are welcome. And if today is your first time, you are welcome back. My channel focuses on a plethora of interests and passions, including Afro hair care, fashion, and music. Today, I want to talk about career pivots. Have you been thinking about making a career switch and wondering where to start? I transitioned from working in the biotech industry after about 8 years to working in healthcare. So I understand the challenging and yet rewarding difficulties that come with making a career change. Today, I'll be sharing with you 4 key steps that helped me during this time and that might be helpful for you if you are in this season and thinking of switching careers as well. Let's dive in. Step number 1, clarify your mission and your purpose. You need to do a lot of soul searching and ask yourself a lot of questions when you're thinking of switching careers. Why do you want to make this change? What excites you about this new field? Learning and figuring out why you want to make this change will keep you motivated, especially when things get tough. And things might get tough. In my experience, answering these questions helped me to remember why I even decided to pursue or start thinking about this career change. I remember answering this question this way. I want to work in an industry or in a field where I can directly impact where I come from, specifically healthcare in Ghana or healthcare in the African region. By answering this question this way, it helped me to realize that biotech was probably not the final destination for where I was thinking my career should go. And so switching to public health and learning about global health helped me to be able to solidify the fact that this was really where I wanted to go. Number 2, strategize and plan ahead. You need to research the desired industry or where you would like to end up to figure out what kinds of skills are in demand in those industries. You may need to think about getting some certifications or trainings that will help you to stand out during the job application process. You may also need to start thinking about some roadmaps and timelines as to how to get there. For example, if you're trying to switch from working in healthcare to going back to med school, it will take you about maybe 2 years to plan towards taking the MCATs and then applications before you can get into med school, or even longer. You may need to go on the internet and find out people who have done similar transitions and figure out what exactly they did to help you be successful in your own journey. Number 3, equip yourself with the right tools. Do you need to go back to school? Do you need to get some certifications? In my case, I knew I needed to get a public health degree to be able to end up doing global health in the African region. And so I had to start making those changes whilst I was working in the biotech industry. You need to be able to find mentors and other people in your desired profession or ultimate career field to be able to figure out exactly what made them successful or how they were able to navigate the experiences that came with making similar transitions. It's very important to conduct the research and do the work that it takes so you're not overwhelmed with all of the many intricacies that might come with such a transition. Step number 4, take action and make the jump. At some point, you will have to go from planning to execution or doing. For some people, it ends up becoming this very scary step to take. However, I want to encourage you to not be afraid and to make the jump. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, to them that are called according to his purpose. For me, it was the scripture that kept me going during this time, which took about 2 to 3 years, including getting an MPH. And so if you've been in this space where you want to make a transition, and it doesn't only have to do with careers, you may actually want to leave the corporate world into, for example, taking care of your young children. And for you, clarifying your purpose, figuring out how to make the jump, which I guess will look different depending on the type of season you're in, is critical. And if you've done some level of research and you've done some level of soul searching, I think you can do it. For this next part of this video, I want to talk about 4 things you should not do when you're thinking of making a career switch. The first one is you should be cautious about sharing this a little too early. When you're thinking of making a career move, with all of the planning that would go into it, you will want to be careful about sharing these plans too soon with your current employer. This has a number of effects, but one of the ones that I can speak to is it may start affecting certain projects that were originally assigned to you, and it may not exactly make you look favorable in the eyes of management. You want to be careful to only share this news when you are absolutely sure it's time to either make the jump or a few months to making the jump. Number two, don't assume that the current skills that you have learned from your existing industry will translate into where you're going. And here is once again why research and some type of investigation is important. You need to know exactly what the expectations are for this place and what kinds of skills you can transfer and what kinds of skills you may need to start learning in order to make you successful. Number three, avoid making the jump without adequate financial and mental preparation. Making a career transition will sometimes come with job or employment gaps and sometimes without the financial cushion that you need to support you during this time. It's critical to figure out exactly how you're going to support yourself financially during this time. Without this financial leverage, you may end up taking positions or employments that you originally did not plan to take, but because you haven't done that work of figuring out exactly how you're going to support yourself financially, you may end up having to do that anyway out of desperation. I remember during this time, my dad called me and we had to crunch some numbers. We had to figure out what happens if I don't get a job in 3 months, what happens if I don't get a job in 6 months, what happens if I don't get a job in a year, what does that look like for me? He was very instrumental in helping me to not just do it on a whim or on emotions, because I had worked in biotech for so long, like I said before, 8 years, but to actually make sure that I was financially prepared to make the leap over only when I was sure that I had a financial leverage to fall back on. You may need to crunch some numbers. You will need to crunch some numbers, let me say, even as you think of switching careers in between the time you're applying, after graduating, and when you end up in this new career field. Last but not least, don't let fear hold you back. Sometimes we have been in places for so long that the thought or even the possibility of making a switch or making a change is terrifying. I know exactly what that feels like. Sometimes we've gotten used to the routine of a particular career. We know what to do almost on automatic basis, to be fair. And so, for example, whether it's going back to school after being in the work environment for so long, or switching from, like I said before, moving from corporate to full-time, being a stay-at-home mother, all of these can come with various challenges and emotions around exactly how you're going to be able to support yourself and your family or yourself. Once you have done the necessary research, you have done some financial and mental preparation, and also you've clarified your purpose around exactly why this change is needed, do not let fear hold you back. Make that jump once again. You'll be okay. Before I sign off on today's video, I want to posit a possible paradigm shift for you to consider even as you're thinking of switching careers. And that's the concept of job versus work. I'm going to leave a link in the description below about a video or a sermon that I watched by Dr. Miles Monroe about 5 years ago at the start of the pandemic. This sermon really challenged me to start looking at jobs or careers very differently. He talked about the difference between a job and work. A job is something you can get fired from. It is dependent on your employer and the needs of his or what the company needs at the time. A work is what you can do with your hands or with your talents. This includes the things that God has endowed you to do that come naturally to you. It could be public speaking, it could be music, it could be anything that comes naturally from your personhood. He didn't define it this way, but that's exactly what I gleaned from that sermon. And so as you think about career switches and all of the different things that come with being in a job or a career, you also need to think about those skills in that field that can help you with your work. For example, Being in biotech or being in healthcare affords me the opportunity to do a lot of presentations, whether it's to people in a small meeting, whether it's over virtual means to, let's say, talk about some scientific experiments that I've been doing, which has something to do with a wide range of diseases, or let's say NIPT, non-invasive prenatal testing. All of those years of making those presentations, for example, have translated into making a video such as this. The sermon that I watched by Dr. Miles Monroe really challenged me to not just see career or job as something distinct from my talents and my passions. It helped me to understand that everything that I'm doing in that field is actually important and can transfer over to my work. Remember, a job is something you cannot be fired from. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like and share it. And if you have any comments or questions, don't forget to leave it down below. And if you have not, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back once again with another video. And if you haven't seen my last video where I did a bit of a fashion haul, I'm gonna link it up below. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a good rest of your week. I love you. Jesus loves you more. Bye-bye.